Welcome in, everybody, to the TK Pod. My name is Tyler Kluver. I was once a Division I football player. I am now a podcaster, fitness coach, and CrossFit athlete, doing all of that as a husband and father of two. This show is an audio journal, a spot for me to vent or ramble about thoughts I have relating to fitness and health, my personal competitive aspirations, business, entrepreneurship, and more. I hope that each show can provide one small bit of value for you, the listener. Regardless, I'm glad you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. Yeah. I hope that I sound good. Welcome in, TK Pod, back for another episode. Just a banger episode last week. Was it last week? I don't know. Last episode we did called Humbled by Quarterfinals. It was last week. And that we were. We went over that saga last week. Don't have to rehash it. It's okay. It is what it is. Quarterfinals not the end all be all. And while I wasn't happy with exactly where the fitness was, there is the nuance to the conversation of what the test was, what the tests were. We have to understand that we're on a climb right now, which fittingly is, I think, the fun little name that they've given to the Monster Games, the actual in-person second stage of this competition this year. They're calling it like the climb, or maybe the qualifier was called the climb, and I think the championship's called like the second mountain or something. I don't know, some symbolism behind it, but that is the end goal. It's all about the Monster Games. Talk a little bit about that here in a second. What else is going on in life right now? What's relevant? Basketball just wrapped up. Going to talk more about that tonight on the main podcast. Watched some walk-ons. Starting to get nice outside. So that's nice. In Iowa, the seasonal depression lifts, and that's a real thing. Sunlight, warm weather just makes you so much happier. Probably should do an episode at some point on like vitamin D or sunlight. Until then, I'll just refer you to Andrew Huberman, who is definitely more knowledgeable about probably most things than me, especially in the realm of biohacking and science around health and stuff like that. But it is real. The sun feels good. More workouts with the garage open. More workouts that include running outside. In fact, one of those is going to happen today after this podcast. Just remembered something that's sort of major as a development towards the main current topic of this podcast, which is the lead up to this Monster Games. So we'll talk about that too. But life is good. 2 kids, they're crazy. They are both unbelievably cute and perfect, and life is good. I'm in a weird spot. Selfishly, I get to spend a lot of time on this working out, especially right now. The lead up to this competition in July, which as I sit here and look at the whiteboard, I have a running count. I think we've talked about it. I think I mentioned it when I put it up there initially. That thing started at 100. I want to say it was close to 150 days. I might have started that thing somewhere around like the upper 140s. It now sits at 107 days. And when you do a counter like that, especially the weekends when I'm not in the office, I don't come down here to work on Saturday until like Sunday night. I'm not really looking at it Sunday night. So Monday rolls around, and last time I updated that number was Friday sometimes. and you knock off 3 days off that counter, that thing is ticking down quickly, and it is a very, very visceral reminder of how quick these things go. A prep, a season of life, a phase of life, a year in your kid's life, a year in your life, um, a time frame in which you need to complete a certain project or whatever it may be. Shit goes fast, dude. And that thing was like 147 or 148 when we started it. It's now at 107. We've nearly cut down a third of it. We're 30% of the way there. And the good news so far is that we made it through the choppy part of that prep. The least important part, I would say every day it gets a little bit more important as we get closer, right? Every day is a every day that goes by, that new day is a larger percentage of the time you have left in that preparation. You're 150 days out when I start that count, and day 150 away from the competition isn't you could have a bad day, you could not train that day, you could eat something not that great. You can get by with that. You have 149 days to make it up, essentially. 107 days left, there's a little bit more importance placed on every single day. And when that thing says 57 days left or 27 days left, each one of those days is going to mount with more importance, more relevance towards the end goal, more pressure, maybe. The positive of being 40 days into that count and just outside of 3 months, yeah, I mean, it's July 24th, so we record this on April 8th, 3 months and 2 weeks away, is that we've made it through 30% of this prep without getting injured. We're not hurt. Uh, we'll talk about how the body feels in a second, but there's been no major injuries, no major hiccups. I've had to shift slash adjust training, like ideal, uh, desired training, basically 1 day of the 40 days so far, and that was quarterfinals weekend, Easter, had some things going on, so I didn't get a workout in on Easter Sunday, which normally, or I guess the week before Easter, the training on that Friday, Saturday, Sunday got a little bit shifted, a little bit wonky, but it's whatever, right? I probably s- throughout the 107 days that are left, I probably will keep a consistent level of stress on my body that leans more towards a day off isn't the worst thing in the world if it comes. So that is something that we're managing again in the whole injury conversation. And that is a conversation because at this point, the only thing derailing this entire operation is pretty much just me getting hurt. Um, and in fact, 1 year ago, we were coming up on, God, I want to say that the semifinals of, yeah, I'm checking it right here. Yeah. The in affiliate semifinals were May 1st last year. So a year ago, right now, I was inside a month out from probably hitting those semifinal workouts, being a true semifinal athlete for the first time, kind of. And then I got hurt about 2 weeks out from the semifinals, about a week from right now, a year ago. Um, and I don't even know if it was something I did. I don't really quite remember. I could probably go listen to the podcast because I'm sure I talked about it. But I think overtrained. I did too much. And that has been a problem for me 2 or 3 times in the last 4 years, 3 and a half, 4 years of I do not do enough recovery, do enough stretching, enough down regulation. It's another thing that I want to talk about. I could probably do 2 podcasts today. I have so many things. Um, and I do too much of the training, too much lifting, too much cardio, too much stress to where my body shuts off. And for some reason, it usually happens in my back. My low back says, nope, no more. And feels it locks up on me. There's severe pain in my low back. And it's the weirdest thing. I'd love to know the science behind it because in the end, it's happened 3 times. Every single time I've done it, it goes away when I just let time heal. There's no structural damage anytime. I had my when did I at some point I had my after the first I think after the second time I might have went and got my back checked. X-ray or MRI or whatever. It wasn't MRI. X-ray maybe. It looked great. All the discs looked great. Everything was good. It's just my nervous system sending pain signals to that part of my body, which happens to be a pretty important part. Maybe there's a correlation there. And saying, "Nope, no hinging, no loading of your spine. Shut it down. Rest for however long this is gonna take because you're doing too much." And so that is the main thing that we're fighting against in this prep in this 107 days that are left because I am going and intend to push my body to a spot where I've never been. Again, we don't know when are the wheels going to fall off this operation? This operation being my body and my competitive fitness journey. We do not know. So I am treating this like it is my CrossFit Games and my one and only attempt, which means sort of, and we'll talk, and that part of that is part of the volume side of this equation is dictated by what programming we're following, and that has changed as of Monday this week. Um, but yeah, we have to manage that. We have to be smart. We have to be diligent about recovery and making sure our body feels good and that we're recovered and ready to go. And I'm already feeling it, and I should be right. I'm, you know, working on this prep started closer to 5 months long, and I'm inside of in the middle of month 2, basically. Like we've taken off a big chunk of the meat of this thing. I should be feeling it a little bit, and I am. And particularly Wednesdays when I record this podcast, as like today is, those are days where I'm feeling it because we're one day away from tomorrow, Thursday, which will be technically an active recovery day, although tomorrow has its own unique wrinkle. We'll get to that in a second. We have about 5 things we need to get to in a second, and we're already 13 minutes into this podcast. So the injury thing is good and bad, right? I am going to push to a spot where before I've hurt myself or I've experienced a point in my training where the body has shut me down twice. Said, "Hey bro, too much." And if that happens, that has taken me on average from I think it's happened 3 times. It's taken me 2, 4, and 6 weeks to get back. And even if you take the middle one, the average there, 4 weeks of basically just light cardio, very little lifting, very little intensity. I don't really have that luxury to just carve out 28 days of the 107 I have left. So we got to prevent that. Training wise, again, the volume dictated by the training program that we're going to be following. We have been following our former strength coach, Nick DeMarco, head strength coach of Elon University in Carolina. Him and another guy, since getting into CrossFit, started their own competitive programming. Been following that for over a year, maybe close to 2 years at this point. It's been fantastic. Switched and have been following along from afar, not following the programming, but just the content and the personalities. Have been following Misfit Athletics, a popular one of the top 4 or 5 most popular camps, I guess you would call them, programming camps in the CrossFit space for a long, long time. Love their stuff. Love listening to Drew's podcast. Really mesh with how he breaks down coaching and programming and realized that I have been cherry picking the programming that I've been doing, NBD fitness. Um, I've been cherry picking that probably a little too much. It's also not tailored exactly to what I'm trying to do right now. It is not going to follow some peaking schedule that peaks in late July, and neither is the Misfit programming. However, the Misfit is a little bit more dialed. It's a little bit more broad in the stuff that I'd never do. Like just this week as a prep week to the new phase, I've already done 2 or 3 things each day that I never have touched in the last few weeks. And they're not like crazy things, but it's just things that I wouldn't have added. I basically have recommitted myself to the Misfit programming for the first time ever. I'm gonna pay for their programming, follow their hatchet plan, which is good volume. That's 2-ish hours plus a day. I think they're even offering a semifinals prep if I want it for the next 2-ish months, which would peak me a little bit, and I'm not even sure that's smart. Um, and the stimulus and the type of programming is going to be different, and because it's different than what I've been doing, I think that's why I need it. I need something that's out of my comfort zone, a bunch of stuff that maybe I haven't done before, a bunch of workouts that are programmed in a way, are thought of in a way, the intention behind them is different than what I've been doing. And that new stimulus, just like when you're lifting weights and you go in and you do bench every week, maybe you need to do incline bench, maybe do a decline bench, maybe do some dumbbell bench. Change up that bench variation, and your body's going to elicit a or that new stimulus will elicit new results. And programming wise, I think that for the next 4 months, along with my own programming, and that's where the volume piece comes in, I think that following this new program is going to be good for me. Um, in addition to that programming, I'm basically, for better or worse, every day of the week is a double day from here on out, and Saturday and Sundays are a single session. Now, that double day on Thursday, tomorrow in this case, as I record this, is still an all cardio day, and it's essentially a zone 2 day, although, the swimming that I'm about to start tomorrow, scared as fuck, by the way, um, probably not gonna be in zone 2. However, it will be low impact, no weights, all technique focused. It will not have intensity programmed into it. It is essentially for at least 2 months, probably, it's gonna be learn to swim freestyle somewhere close to something that doesn't look like uh, a land animal that's bet in the water for the first time in his life. I know how to swim. I can survive in a lake or a pool or whatever. I can tread water. I can swim freestyle, quote unquote, from one point to another. If you're at the lake, I can go dock to dock or I can swim out to the buoy or whatever, right? I'm fine. I have never swam or in swimming lessons as a kid, I never learned true like freestyle technique, keep your torso under the water, keep a flat body, don't drag your feet, correct arm, pull and how to pull through, how to breathe and turn side to side. I never learned any of that. So my version of swimming right now is just throw a muscle guy in the pool and just watch him look like an idiot. So my goal is at least once a week, maybe more if I can't figure it out, over basically April and May, is to just figure out the technique, get somewhat close, gain some amount of comfortability in the pool. And then maybe in June and the couple weeks of July leading up to the competition, I can actually program some workouts like, you know, 10 by 50 or 8 by 100 meters on a clock, right? Whatever it may be, and try and increase like a little bit of the intensity. That is, after all, the basis of CrossFit. Mechanics, consistency, intensity. That is how this works. And the mechanics portion of that, it is going to need a lot of work. And then turning that into some sort of consistency, especially then under fatigue, the only intensity we may encounter in that process, in the swimming side of this whole thing, might be the workout that we do at the Monster Games. So there's a long journey that's starting tomorrow at the YMCA in Waukee, Iowa. And I can't wait to jump into that lap pool. There's going to be some 50, 60, 70-year-olds next to me who are just so smooth and probably have been swimming for weeks and months and years of their life. And it's what they do for their physical activity. They go to the Y and they swim and they look so smooth. And then your boy is going to be in there like a rhino. Everybody's going to be looking at me like, "Oh, that guy doesn't know what he's doing." At least he has big quads in those swim trunks, in that in those, those tight swim shorts that he's wearing. So, lot going on there. So, we're on a new programming. We'll talk about that new programming as it goes forward. Again, this week specifically is supposed to be like a build-up week, like a low to moderate volume build-up week to the new phase that they're doing. That new phase that they're doing is off-season block number 1 for them. It's literally the first block of the season if you start after quarterfinals, which is when 99.99% of people start their season for next year. This is their first block. So it's not peaking. It's not technically the kind of like comp kind of training that's been going on the past couple months in their program, or most programs that would be trying to peak you for the open or the quarters. That doesn't mean it doesn't make you fitter. And I think that intention and stimulus matters. And I think that I can be very intentional with a whole new set of stimuluses and some familiar as well. And by doing that, even though we're in the off season of their program, adding my own stuff in there, I can peak for this competition later in July. So that is the plan. What is that extra conditioning? Again, like I said, basically 2 sessions a day, Monday through Friday, a single session on Saturday, a single session on Sunday. We'll just start at the front. Mondays are sort of we are doing an additional a 2K row program right now, and we're on Mondays and Monday mornings and Friday afternoons, we're hitting a rowing interval piece, anywhere from 18 to 30 minutes of rowing intervals. Just that. That's all it asks for. So Monday mornings, we hit one of those. I actually hit that this morning because I'm figuring out the Misfit programming and how this is all going to piece together. But moving forward next week, Monday, rowing interval to start the week. Depending on how I'm feeling, what I feel I need, how much double unders are in the Misfit programming, I may add just a pure double under skill session to that morning session as well. But that's about it. There may be some other skills mixed in there if I feel like I need some certain work. I think it's pretty much just double unders and fucking rowing though on Monday mornings. And then on Monday afternoon, Misfit program for the day. Whatever they have programmed. And there could be some Misfit stuff in there too, because there's 5 or 6 or 7 different items for the day on Misfit. If there's a skill or an accessory that I could add to that morning, I will always do that when I'm at home to kind of make those 2 sessions even. Tuesdays, big Peloton session in the morning, just big zone 2 bike. Tuesday afternoons, Misfit, whatever they've got. Wednesday mornings, probably split what Misfit has for the day into 2 and add on maybe another skill or something that I wasn't able to complete Tuesday, for example, because we're adding a ton of Peloton and Zone 2 in the morning on Tuesday. That might mean that in the afternoon on Tuesdays, I can't cram everything Misfit has programmed into that into that session. It'll just roll over to Wednesday morning, and we'll do it Wednesday morning with whatever's on the docket for Wednesday. Finish out what they have programmed for Wednesday in the afternoon. Thursdays in the morning is going to be a swim, probably around 9:30 a.m. I'll go and swim at the Y, and then in the afternoon, um, we'll see. Eventually, the afternoon is going to turn into the vested session. So there will Thursdays are going to kind of become my comp specific day, where you look at the last 2 years of this event and you see that there's been a swimming workout, and they've already announced that there's probably going to be a swimming workout this year. And the last 2 years, there's been a long run outside on this baseball field that they use, this complex. It'll probably be 25, 30 plus minutes. It's an endurance event. It'll probably involve just a bunch of cardio pieces. In the past, there's been ski, there's been bike, there's been running, both years with a vest or a ruck, both years. And then probably some sort of sled drag or push added into that as well. So, gonna try and swim once a week on Thursday mornings. Gonna try and hit longer endurance type workouts with a vest, with a sled. Bought a Rogue dog sled, by the way, on Thursday afternoons. And the reason swimming will be in the morning, uh, and the sort of ruck vested run longer endurance workout will be in the afternoon, twofold. One, on the day when I do my swimming, I'd like to do that as fresh as possible. So that's in the morning, first session of the day. Two, when we do this workout in July, it's going to be hot as fuck in Kansas City. And I need to eventually be prepped for that. And while right now in early April, it's only about 50, 60 degrees outside, even in the afternoons. Eventually in June and early July, I'm probably going to get some good training days in there where it's 80s, 90 degrees, and I can get acclimated to what an outside workout in a vest, 25, 30, 40 minutes long will feel like. So that is what Thursday afternoon will look like. Friday mornings, I will go to the gym and hit anything that I can't hit in the garage that morning. Mostly that's going to be like rope climbs or GHD workouts. Maybe something with a ski erg if I really want to get a ski erg piece in, which is probably beneficial. So those 3 pieces of equipment, that's it basically. That might show up at the competition. Lift with the boys, lift with the 9 a.m. class, basically work out with the community there at the gym, do the Misfit programming that morning, Friday afternoon, second rowing interval piece of the week. Saturday, one bigger session, which will eventually maybe start. I'm trying to figure this out still, but I kind of want to do some amount of Zone 2 rowing every week. And so I'm either going to start like a 2-hour session with like a 30-minute Zone 2 row, basically as the warm up, or maybe we'll move that to like Sundays as just the Sunday piece. I'm not really quite sure yet. Currently, it's going to sit at the start of the Saturday session, and then Sundays, like a 1-hour true like off day, which I know for a lot of people this doesn't sound like an off day, but like a very easy Zone 1, Zone 2 bike ride Peloton. Maybe intersperse that with like some very easy, very slow running, 45 minutes to an hour of just get the heart rate up a little bit, shake it out, don't do anything else. So You're looking at like 3 hours of training every day during the week, 2-ish hours on Saturday, 1 hour on Sunday. It's like 18 hours a week of training. It's a lot. That is the current split, kind of the current how Misfit and my own additional stuff will add on top of that. And some of that biking, that zone 2 biking on Tuesdays and Sundays might shift or alternate a little bit more as we get closer to the competition with some running. Um, I don't want to do too much running too early. I'm already doing plenty that we just laid out there in that 7-day span that I don't need to put more impact on the knees and give them more of an issue or a reason to be pissed at me and have to take time off. But that's kind of what it looks like. And it's all starting to come together right now because um, I've got the Y membership. We're going to start swimming. I've got the sled that I ordered. We're going to start pushing the sled around and dragging it and pulling it. I've got the vest. The weather's nice. There's basically nothing holding me back on exactly the kind of programming and 107 days of prep that I want to have for this competition. So that's what we're looking at. New programming, 2-a-days, full-fledged, injury prevention, and in a good spot with the body right now. And that comes with an increase in calories. We can maybe talk about that a little bit as we move on here, but that is what we are sort of looking at right now. And I'm sure there was like 5 other things I wanted to talk about on this episode, but I kind of want to go train. Got some shit to do. Got to get fitter. So I'm going to go train. On the other fronts, business is good. We're in the kind of the dry season, the driest of seasons. April, May, June are very, very dry for the main gig over here, the walk-ons, the football content. So we're in the slowest part of the year for that. But business is still good. Podcast is doing well. Revenue is good. Um, Wife interviewed for a new position today, a new job that's a little different from what she's been doing for almost the last decade. So that would be cool. Little career elevation for her. Life is good, man. Kids are happy, healthy. We're loving life. Chicken and rice every day, turkey and rice, eggs in the morning, ice cream a couple times a week. Dude, life is good. Couldn't be better. We'll be back next week. And hopefully I'll still be every single week we do this. I'm going to be like, well, hopefully I'm put together next week. Hopefully I haven't fallen apart. We'll see you then.